Serious, people who worked at hotels during furry anime sci-fi comic other conventions. What crazy shit did you see go down? My hotel had an annual fairy fest. Families would come dressed as fairies and it was nice and friendly. But then, after 8 PM it was adults only and it got weird. You ever seen two drunk male satyr and fawn make out? Because I have. Is it gay if they are different species? There was lots of interspecies action going on in our ballroom. Also glitter. Glitter everywhere from the fairies and other woodland creatures. I used to work at a yearly convention in San Jose, California. Some of the more earthy people who attended would use the hot tub a lot. It was no secret that 1. Strange bodily fluids would wind up in there. And 2. The water gradually changed brown due to people not showering before they went in. As a result, by Saturday afternoon the hotel's hot tub was always shut down for cleaning and changing the water. Every single year. Wasn't working the con. But the year that anime Matsuri in Houston decided to move to a hotel right next to Reliant Park, where the Houston Livestock Show and Rodeo is held. During the rodeo, I saw so many confused rural cowboys trying to figure out what all these strange people with weird color hair and strange clothes were doing in their hotel. I have no idea why the hotel thought it would be a good idea to schedule a 8,000 person convention during the 2 million person, over 3 weeks, rodeo. It was fun to watch the culture clash, though. I work security for a convention. One night me and a friend had just gotten off shift. It was about 3 to 4 AM. This convention was a 24-hour convention, so all of the halls were still open and a lot of people were still out and about. We came across a girl passed out in one of the gaming halls while sitting in front of a console. We went over to wake her and she kept falling in out of consciousness. Probably drunk. But the thing that bothered us was a random guy suddenly appeared and said he was with her. She was alone when we noticed her. And this guy had just found her and had been looking all over. We were suspicious. He kept trying to take her back to their room and we absolutely refused to let him escort her. She was not coherent at all. Since I was off shift, I grabbed one of the other security people and insisted they check to see where she was staying, and if she was staying at the hotel that they walked her back to her room. Under no circumstances was the guy to be alone with her. We went to bed so I didn't see a resolution. But I made sure they verified her room number and walked her back to her room. Not during a convention. But I worked food service in a major Texas hotel for a while. We'd have dozens of events every day. Sometimes with thousands of attendees. Really busy place with lots going on. One day I was walking down one of the main service hallways. And suddenly there was the Scarecrow from The Wizard of Oz. Pacing back and forth. Muttering to himself. Nothing else was different. No other characters or anything. I assume he was part of some event. But for all I know it could have been a random homeless dude that robbed a costume shop before wandering onto our property. Overall I just wanna say they're very nice. Usually nicer than some regular guests. They usually just have issues with money like don't have CC or they try and fit like 8 people in a room meant for 4. They do provide entertainment, which is nice. Our hotel was full during Fan Expo and Comic-Con each year due to the proximity to the convention center where they are held. Around midday Saturday the fire alarm goes off and everybody needs to hold position until cleared by fire department and AMP security. People were missing autograph signings, costume awards etc, and were pissed. The guilty party was a guest cosplaying as Princess Bubblegum. She had literally painted herself pink with an aerosol spray that triggered our smoke detectors. It took around 10 minutes to clear the hotel and resume operation. The whole time the lobby filled with disgruntled heroes and villains who finally found a common enemy in the hotel staff demanding compensation and answers until it was apparent this whole situation was caused by one of their own. My buddy took me to a con once. He went as a Smurf with blue body paint and nothing but white shorts and a Smurf hat. Since he was freaking massive, guy was 6 foot 4 inches. 260 pounds. And maybe 5% body fat, it was hilarious. He was this huge, jacked smurf. Well, he got drunk. And he's a very huggy drunk. I lost him somewhere after he wandered away from the hotel and ended up tracking him down by following the trail of pissed off, heavily confused, frightened random people in the street smeared in blue body paint from his smurf Hulk hugs. I live in a lively seaside town and work in a cafe right next door to my town's Comic Con. I love the costumes and it's usually a pretty chilled event, unlike some others I could mention. Last year, our Elvis competition and Armed Forces Week coincided with Comic Con. At one point, a fight broke out between a Spider-Man and an Elvis right on the square in front of our windows because said Spider-Man drunk rolled into a Dalek, which turned out to be a man in a wheelchair underneath. If that wasn't bizarre enough, the pair being restrained by a bunch of soldiers and observed by a crowd of other assorted mythical creatures and Elvisors, LVI? Definitely took the biscuit. The Dalek was fine. The Spider-Man was removed from the situation and I couldn't tell which Elvis had been fighting once it was over. I arrived to check in for a furry convention. Turns out there was also a block of rooms that weekend for 3 all-girls Christian high school soccer teams. The girls thought all the fursuits and such were awesome. The teachers' chaperones were, judging by their volume and vulgarity towards the staff, all 110% Karens. The hotel staff I spoke to seemed to prefer the furries. Then again, I didn't talk to the maids. Worked at a hotel during Comic Con. Hulk Hogan was a guest. In the middle of the night he ordered room service. Like 3 pounds of dark chocolate and other stuff. Really nice guy. Seth MacFarlane tips really well. Chris Titus won't let the valets park for him and Seth Green is funny as hell. Sasha Grey was there too, but she had a huge entourage with her the whole time. A woman who was so obese she couldn't clean between her rolls and smelled so terrible the con managers and hotel staff had to ask her to leave. Guy pulled up to valet his poopy ban and he had loose cat litter turds in the car. Didn't believe the valets until I checked myself. A group of furries get so fricked up on something they just collapsed in the lobby and we had to call ambulances for multiple neon fursuited wolves. Guy shoved a pocket pussy into a hairdryer and nearly set the hotel on fire. I have so many more. It was supposed to be a regular clean in the bathroom. Turns out, massive furry orgy. Next day was not fun. I wasn't the hotel worker, but it was my cousin and I was at the event myself. Though in a different room. It was an anime game convention, where several gamers and cosplayers were at. My cousin was a janitor, and has since quit the job. There was the receptionist area, the hotel area, and the dining area where this took place. My cousin was doing normal janitor things, while me and my friends were still at the convention center. She was cleaning up around the dining area when 2 people started a screeching match over something or other. My cousin thought that whatever they were fighting about was probably silly and almost left the area when one of the dudes, looked maybe 20, threw hands with the other guy, also maybe around 20, and they broke a table. My cousin had verbally tried to get the 2 to stop fighting after the table had broken half, but stopped and left it to security when they ignored her. This was at about 10 PM. Right when my little friend group and I walked in to go back to our rooms for the night. Walking around in a thick blazer and jacket as an anime boy for a good 10 hours is hard. I know from experience. My cousin ushered us to the elevators so we didn't see the bloodied up dudes in Naruto headbands who were being questioned by security. So we had no idea that happened until my cousin told us. I am not a furry and, honestly, didn't even know what furries were until a couple years ago. My friend who works for the Hilton by the airport told me about a furry con where someone decided to take a poop on the carpet. Well, the hotel event manager didn't like that and basically banned them from ever having the convention there again. But he also talked to all the other hotels by the airport and told them what happened. So now they are banned from all the surrounding hotels too. At Game Developers Conference in the 1990s it was way smaller but had a ton of money. One night was called Hospitality Suite Night, where game companies would rent suites in a hotel and you would drink your way from the top floor down to the bottom. By the time I got to the bottom, a rewards ceremony for force feedback in games was going on. The iForce Awards. I was extremely drunk and mad that EA had cancelled the game Thrill Kill. So when EA won an award I went on stage, accepted the award, and it is still in my office. My friends tried to use the award as leverage and the people at EA thought it was pretty funny. Just Google Rainforest 2015 at your own risk. Regular convention I attended that had a hentai based late night panel. After a few regular shenanigans, one girl got up front and stripped everything off into swift moves. Conventions I've worked at, I got to see various VIP guest actors rip-roaring drunk. Indeed. Some of the actors are talented enough to fake not being drunk long enough to get through their panel with fans. Security catches lots of teens trying to have hanky-panky in pretty much any place they think they can get away with it. Behind the scenes, I don't listen to J-pop. But J-pop groups are super fun people in general. Not a crazy fact, but neat anyway. Behind the scenes with an actor, I was not expecting you to be wearing a penis necklace tucked under your shirt everywhere you go. If you see this, you know who you are. We still have a picture of you sticking it in my wife's ear lol. Stayed at a hotel hosting an anime con the same weekend I helped pick out my sister's wedding dress. Everyone was super nice. But my mom and I ended up with a bad case of convention flu all the same. I had a friend that would work a big anime convention at the Baltimore Convention Center about 10 years back. I think it was Otakon? I'm honestly not quite sure. But the stories were pretty crazy. A guy complained because he waited in line for 45 minutes to get a sandwich from one of the food stands and someone just grabbed it and ran into the crowd once he got out of line. People were randomly banging on hotel doors asking if they can sleep in random rooms. So as a result, people were trying to sleep inside the convention center. A lot of harassment reports by girls in cosplay. Mario beating the poop out of Spider-Man. They have a furry convention every year here in Reno at the Grand Sierra Resort. I always go gamble that day to see them all dressed up in giant dog costumes to see the expression on the face of confused boomers. Last year 2 of them got thrown out for fricking in an elevator while wearing the dog outfits. Unfeo. My hotel is close to the DFW airport and I am a hotel shuttle driver. There was a convention going on at the Hyatt Regency at the DFW airport on the same day of a Star Wars convention. There was also a horror movie convention at the same time at the same location. Well, I was taking some guests who vary from professional businessmen to airline flight crew. We were pulling into Terminal C, which is the same terminal that has the Hyatt Regency, and just as we are entering the terminal I see someone dressed as Jason Friday the 13th holding a machete and dragging a body bag behind him. And I'm saying out loud to everyone, well, that's not creepy in the slightest. And then not even 12 feet behind them is someone dressed as Princess Leia Star Wars, and instead of her hair being in the Princess Leia style she has headphones on and the headphones look like cinnamon buns. Just like from the TV show The Goldbergs. Needless to say, it was pretty entertaining. I haven't worked at a hotel, but I have attended both an anime and furry con. And honestly, it was just 100% wholesome stuff from what I saw. So many hugs, high fives, interesting conversations with people, and complimenting each other's fursuits cosplays. At the anime convention, I got to geek out with other people over anime, play fun board games and hang out with my best friend. At the furry convention, I got to see the incredible craftsmanship that goes into making fursuits up close, and be silly and play around with other fursuiters. Also, words cannot describe how awesome it is to hug someone in a fursuit until you've tried it yourself. So soft. Just picturing different people justifying why they were banned from conventions and how they were the victim whenever it comes up in conversation. Anyway. Wasn't working a con but was a guest. My wife and I and the other couple we were with decided to go out to the outdoor balcony to look for some others we knew. To get to the balcony, you had to walk through a large meeting hall, where a half dozen or so cosplayers were having what I guess was a private meeting. They had stationed a guy in chainmail holding a lightsaber to guard the door. Ignorant of this, we started to walk through. The guardian of the doorway shouted, "You shall not pass," in as deep a voice as he could muster, and swung the lightsaber at us, striking my wife in the face hard enough to draw blood. That's how I learned Jedi Knights aren't really tough at all, and cheap chainmail breaks very easily when you kick it.
Hi there. Look, if you enjoyed the video, well, why not go ahead and hit that like and subscribe to Reddit Stories. In fact, if you want to see even more responses to this thread, well then, take a look. There's the link in the description below. And remember, show some love to those authors while you're there. And I look forward to seeing you next time.